there. Hey there. So if you know anything about the band Cheap Trick, you know that they're Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. They were the blueprint for power pop and a lot of punk bands, and that their album At Budokan is known as one of the greatest live albums of all time. But what I didn't know is how long they spent traveling rough in a car, working small clubs until they were playing these huge shows full of screaming fans and being pelted with underwear. Me and my producer, Brian Bevito, who's hidden from view while he produces and texts me a lot, we had a hang with Cheap Trick bassist Tom Petersson, who joined us from his back porch on his cell phone in portrait mode on a very special day. My regular co-host, Joe Hudak, was on assignment or something and couldn't make the interview, which is a little weird, but his loss because we had a really good time.
Hi, Kat.
I was just picking my nose. You caught me.
I'm scrambling around like an idiot. I should have gotten started.
No, it's fine. I thought, like, should I text him? I don't want to bother you. And
it's like
no, it's perfect. I do have one question for you about something that's true. Brian, get the fuck out of here. Is today your birthday?
Today is my birthday, yes.
Oh, my God. Okay, well.
Sometimes it lands on Mother's Day, but not this year.
Well, okay, you get that.
I can't. Let me see here. What's this say? Oh, how nice. Oh, well. It's too much.
It's like kind of a burnt offering, but I figured it had to be we had to do something, right?
At least I can get a T-shirt out of the deal. It's my birthday.
I'll send
Just
you
what I need, right? I love your T-shirts.
I'll send it to you.
Are you kidding? Of course.
I make these. I'll send one to you.
I know.
Oh, that's right. But dude, thank you so much for doing this today, especially, on your birthday, and it looks like it's a beautiful day in where you live. Do you have birthday plans?
Yes, but I don't know what they are.
Somebody's or is it?
It's not a surprise. I just don't want to know. So I just, it's not like, what's it, Randolph's birthday? Remember that John Lennon story he did in his own right? This book he wrote all these short stories. Mm-hmm. Something like this effect. It was Randolph's birthday, and he went to work, and nobody had mentioned it. Nobody said a thing about it, and he was like so depressed, and he goes home after work and gets a knock on the door, and all of his friends are out there outside of his house, and they come in, and they, oh my God, this is so great. And they start going, Randolph, we never liked you. And they beat him to death. That's the story.
Jesus.
Something that I haven't read it since the 60s, but it's something that I was like, oh, great. Yeah, we never did like you. And they killed him.
Well, I hope that that's not the surprise, unless you want that to be the surprise.
I'm on the fence about it. So
right. We talked on the phone like a year ago, and I told you that we were sort of trying to just get some anecdotes together for this book that we're doing, and that may or hopefully will happen. We're going to make tens of dollars off of it, but just the idea of documenting these cool stories from these people who have experienced it. And you were in Australia, you were in Sydney, and you told me so much stuff. It was amazing. And well, first of all, you're just one of those people. You're so engaging and warm to everybody, and you're so interested in people, and I really appreciate that about you. Like, I don't know if you would remember this, but the way we actually met is I bought an 8-string bass, and I put it up on Instagram, and I was like, well, what the hell do I do now? And I think it was Jeff Ament tagged you, and you commented on it. And I was like, no, all these bass players are talking to me. Like, I'm not going to actually use this thing. And I could never figure it out. But then we met at the Jesse Malin.
Yes, in New York.
When we opened for Cheap Trick at the Capitol Theater. So thanks.
No problem. Anytime.
Well, we talked and you told me a bunch of stories, and I know you have like a million more. And I wanted to ask, first of all, for starters, you had talked about maybe writing a book? Is that sort of still?
No, I wonder what you mentioned that. I don't remember that. I may have. That doesn't mean I didn't say it, but no, I was not considering writing a book.
Well, I didn't make that up.
Yes, you did.
You might need to do that.
That sounds like a lot of trouble. I don't know. And
Would
or should
just
I
be
just say yes and just never do it? That's probably more like it. Like, yeah, I'm writing a book.
yeah, I think that's sort of the premise of this show is like, we're going to do this thing and then maybe never do it, but at least we'll have, that's why I thought to do it this way. So at least we have, the audible versions of these stories.
Right.
I love storytelling and I sent it to a publisher and he's like, I love this idea. You're not going to make any money. And I was like, oh,
Oh, really? No, I'm a musician. That's I know.
right.
You're the last in line.
Well, I'm disappointed, but I totally get it. You're not going to write the book. It's fine. Maybe you'll write the book. I don't fucking know.
No.
Okay, forget it. So then the pressure is on me to make sure that we get these stories.
I should try to promote my new book then.
You should.
My forthcoming book.
So you talked about when you guys did the first tour in the U.S. supporting the Budokan record.
Yes.
And how when you played that people were trying to impress you guys with the cuisine.
Oh, yes. Must have been 1978, right around there. We had success with that live at Budokan from Tokyo record. And so Epic Records, our labels, said what they do is they try to think of some catchy little cute thing to do. So we'd meet all the radio station people for lunch at a Japanese restaurant. All right, except Japanese restaurants at that time were really non-existent, really rare. So nobody knew really what it was. So you'd show up and there'd be all like, you come in and you're hungover and like, oh, what are we doing here? And like, oh, hi, everybody. It's like, okay, here's your breakfast or your lunch. And it's like these lime green fur balls and all this weird pink. Like, why didn't we do this record in Italy or something? France. Everywhere we went, every day, it doesn't matter what country it was, they'd show up with, some countries were better at Japanese cuisine than the U.S. The U.S. was the worst.
In 1978. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what kind of fish were they serving? Do you
I
even
have
know?
no idea. That's what sake is for.
So it was like sake and raw trout with soy sauce.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, in Iowa. I mean, I'm sorry. I never had pizza until I was a teenager. I never heard of it. I didn't grow up. We went to the state fair in Milwaukee or something. It's like, oh, pizza. What's that? Like, wow, this is really good. Like, that's what you get when you grow up in the boondocks.
You're from Rockford, right?
Rockford, Illinois. Yeah.
My sister-in-law is from Rockford, and she served you. She worked at a fast food restaurant, and she served you, and it's a highlight of her life. By the way,
naturally.
Yeah.
it's always a highlight when you're, meeting and talking with dignitaries like ourselves. It's a small factory town. It's not that small, I guess. But it's 150,000. I think it's always been 150,000. Somebody dies, somebody takes their place, but no, they don't add extra people.
What did your parents do?
Oh, my mother was a proofreader, and she was a librarian, and she was the one who really kept all my memorabilia from when we started. Well, she kept everything. So when she died, I got boxes of memorabilia. I mean, tickets and you name it. She goes, now don't just leave those in there for you. Of course, I left them in there for like 30 years and it just recently opened them all up. Like, oh my God.
Oh, that must have been so moving.
It was. I mean, it's funny. I've got, letters from Rick from, the late 60s. He's telling you never talked. It's the same. Nothing ever changes. Hey, I just saw this Rickenbacker bass and they wanted $120 for it. And I offered them 60. My parents started getting Billboard when we started to get success after Budokan. So I've got every billboard that came in every week. Like, do I really, hey, these things are heavy. should I look through these and see what's in there, or just?
Or you could sell them on eBay under like Boner 69 420.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
and
see
then
that?
you could,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I want to do. Just running back and forth. Copy a bill. Oh, look, I made $3. It didn't even cost me anything. Gas, a couple hours time.
You guys were hitting hard for so long before you like had the big hit. And I
Yes.
think I was really struck by that. I think maybe people don't understand that you guys were pounding the road for a long time.
Yeah, we were, and it wasn't just as this sort of promoting records or whatever. It was, we were playing in clubs, and we'd play like 6 nights a week in a club like in North Dakota, 4 or 5 sets a night, and then Sunday we'd have off. We'd drive to, I don't know, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and play there for 6 nights. 4 or 5 sets a night, that kind of thing. And we did cover songs, but only cover songs that we liked. We weren't doing the hits. So people pretty much hated us. And it's just one nonstop request for Freebird. Just whatever the hits were, like, oh, those guys are making great money. It's like, we're making nothing. And then later, after we built a following and everything, you guys are so lucky you get to do all your original material. It's like, lucky. Yeah. Well, that's because we weren't a cover band. All we did was we played songs that we wrote or that we liked, the Slade, Gary Glitter, T-Rex, Bowie, whatever, Stones. But what we knew was if you play stuff that people can dance to, in the end, it doesn't matter.
And how many years did you guys have to do that?
That started from like 73, 74 on, doing those clubs like that.
And then you told me too that when you guys hit, like it was great, but then there was a wobble.
So we'd had 3 unsuccessful albums in a row, and we were about to finish the 4th unsuccessful one. And in the middle of it all, the Budokan thing came out, the live recording, as a fluke, really. It wasn't meant for, we thought, we heard they were going to record us when we first got there, and they go, well, they never even showed up. Where's all the recording? What are they doing? Oh, it's all set up. You're all ready to go. Like, what? All right. So we just started playing, and that was the end of it. So we said, God, if we'd known this was going to go so well, we would have put more thought into it. And at that point, Budokan came out, which was a hit in Japan. Those records were successful in Japan, so it was a greatest hits record. But we didn't have any hits except in Japan. So it made so all of a sudden we're like recording our Dream Police, right? The Dream Police album is done. We're like, oh, now you've got this big success with Budokan. Oh, that's great. Okay, you got to promote. You got to start. Wait a minute. We just got done unsuccessfully promoting all these albums. So here we are again doing a greatest hits run, basically, and nobody heard any of those songs really until they got Budokan. So can't complain, of course. But
it's such a wild story, and it's
crazy.
Yeah, and it's a good lesson for me too, because Tom, I need some money, and I need to make some money, and all the things that I like to do are not the kind of things that people want to pay money for. So it's a good lesson for me that you never know. Sometimes you can just trip over a log and somebody will want to pay you. That's maybe not the greatest parallel with the Budokan record.
I don't know, maybe. Right.
But Jesse Mallon told me he saw you play at the Cat Club, and the band was called like the Sick Men of Europe.
Oh yeah, Sick Man of Europe.
Sick Man of Europe.
Sick Man of Europe. It was,
and that was that Cheap Trick?
It was. I was gone from Cheap Trick from 1980 to 87, and that was in that time period. And I lived in Manhattan, and I had a band with Jana Allen and Pete Comita, the guy that replaced me in Cheap Trick. He was a guitar player, and he was great. I was good friends with him. That's how those guys knew him. So we played at CB's and that Cat Club and that kind of stuff.
I don't think I knew that you lived in Manhattan.
Yeah, I lived there for 10 years at Grove Street and 7th, like
That's
Bleecker.
right where my great aunt lived around that time.
Oh, really?
Well, you
That's
didn't
probably
happen to have a
bizarre.
pistol. Did you have a pistol? Because she said somebody was always shooting a pistol off outside her apartment. Was that you?
That was me. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
She always said it was the gays. The gays were shooting the pistols. So maybe it was, yeah. So maybe that's who it was. But you mentioned to me that you are sober and that the reason you got sober was because you woke up. And what was your moment where you realized it was time to stop?
I got stepped on by a horse in New Orleans. All I did was just lay down for a few minutes in the street. Bad idea. October 13th, 1993.
I mean, probably at the time, maybe it got a little easier pretty soon after that because the New York Times was writing about it or whatever, but people weren't really sober. People thought I don't know. From my experiences, people thought that I was like a religious Jesus person or something if I was
Right?
sober. Did you experience that too?
No.
No. People were like, thank God.
Oh, no. They were happy. It was for the best, definitely. But nobody else that I knew stopped. But we never got high or drank or anything when we performed. Never. We had to deal whether, every band that Rick and I were in, we just had it. That was the way it was. Basically, we had something to look forward to at the end of the night. You play in, North Dakota 6 nights. It's like, okay, only 2 sets left, and I can have, several hundred beers. Good.
Right.
That
Yeah,
would keep you going. You didn't have anything else going on. Like, okay, boy, I can't wait to get back to the Motel 6 we're all staying in one room.
when did you get a bus? What year was that?
Well, that would have been after Budokan, but we had a motorhome before that. When we got a record deal, we had a motorhome. It was, across the Canadian Rockies in the middle of the winter. You put chains on a motorhome, you really make great time. God, just go in there and talk amongst yourselves. No, we can't. We can't take it anymore.
In the motorhome, was there a place for everybody to sleep, like beds or?
Not really. I don't even remember really sleeping. We played cards a lot and gambled like crazy. It all sounds good, but it's better than riding around in a Bonneville with the back windows knocked out, pulling a U-Haul. So a motorhome was like, it was heaven on earth. And then, of course, it pretty quickly becomes hell on earth. And then eventually, if you make enough money now you can afford a bus. Well, aren't we going to personally make any more money? No, you're just going to have a bus now. It's just, you just still make nothing.
It's either way is rough, and it's rough on the body, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like sometimes it starts to get to your body?
Well, I don't know. We just figured we'd never last this long, so weren't really thinking about. I can't believe I just turned 75 today.
That is so.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing milestone.
That sounds old. It is old. What am I saying? So we didn't really prepare for that, unfortunately. So,
well, and
still keep going. Yeah. What the hell? What else can we do?
I have to ask you a question before I forget. Did you guys meet Elvis at a studio in Memphis?
No. Never met Elvis.
Okay, Brian, are you satisfied?
And I was never into Elvis. I was the oldest one in the family, like the oldest, honestly, in the whole family. So I didn't have older brothers and sisters turning me on to whatever.
How do you feel about Elvis now? I don't know why I'm asking you this, but here we are.
Well, same as I did then. I just thought he might as well have been Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin. It was the old guard. I only knew him from those stupid movies he made. I thought, this guy sucks. So I didn't get turned on to him when he was good.
Right.
And the one thing that Elvis actually did for us, our second album came out, it was called In Color. And the first album came out completely bombed. So our second album, In Color, we got the lead review in Rolling Stone. It's unheard of. Like a completely unknown act, really. And Elvis died, and he's on the like, thank you, Elvis. Everybody has that Rolling Stone. It didn't help. The record didn't sell anyway, so it didn't matter. Like good press doesn't mean shit.
You also told me about when you guys, I don't know if you opened for or you did a double bill with the Kinks.
Yes.
And you mentioned that they weren't terribly friendly.
Well, it was like there was so much infighting and
Right.
drunkenness going on in their situation that I don't know that any of them really kind of knew what was going on. They never didn't really know. Oh, this might no, this isn't your dressing. This is our dressing room. Where am I? You're on another floor.
Right.
So everybody was pretty out of it, and they got into fist fights on stage and shit like that. We loved the Kinks, so they could basically do no wrong.
Well, but you did tell me that the only thing I think you said that Ray Davies said to you.
Oh, yeah. He never said a word to us the whole tour. Never, it never just came up. It wasn't like he was purposely being mean or anything. He didn't do anything. But he, so the last night of the tour, he's over on my side of the stage. He's right there. And it's like, wow, okay. Wow, Ray hung around. And so we go off stage. And up to that point, he never said a word to me. And the only thing he ever said was he looks at me and he looks down at my crotch and he goes, "Oh, I can see you're dressed to the right." First of all, I didn't know what he meant. But then years later, we were playing at Jazz Fest in New Orleans, which we just played again. But this was 10 years ago. I think it's when he was living there. And he was playing there as a solo artist. So he gets down, we're like seeing Ray, and he gets off stage. "Hey, Ray, it's good to see you." Oh, he goes, "Great, wouldn't it?" And Rick and I were standing there. We had our guitars on. We were on a different stage, and we were about ready to go on. And we go, "Ray, can you hang around?" He goes, "I can, yeah, when are you guys starting?" He goes, "I can hang around for a bit. When are you starting?" "Well, right now, we're standing there with our guitars. We were just about to go on stage." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I've got to go."
Do you still feel excited about music in that? I know you're excited about music in general. You like to make it, but do you feel excited? Because it can be difficult, I know, as I get older to stay plugged in, and there's so much music happening all the time. But
Yeah.
do you still?
I don't listen to the radio. I always say it's kind of a joke, but if they don't play it on NPR, I don't hear it.
Right.
I get in the car today and I put NPR on it, and it was an interview with Robert Crumb from 2005. Fresh Air, I think, is the name of the show that's on. They interview so many great weird artists, Holly Woodlawn and Robert Crumb, out of the blue. You're like, oh my God, what? Another good way to get music is when they play music in the background, like on Instagram, they'll have something on their, like, oh my God, what is that? Oh, that's the Breeders. What song is that? Like, oh, cool, or new acts. But it's interesting if it was like in England where they have, the radio stations where the number one hit is some accordion player, and then the number two is Dave Edmunds, or Rock Pile. Like, what the hell?
I think I'd shit myself if I heard Rock Pile on the radio.
Yeah, the first thing Rick and I heard in England in '68, we go into our hotel, and number one song on BBC was "Saber Dance" by Dave Edmunds. It was great.
Right, of course.
The circus song.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. And Dave Edmunds did that version. It's killer. Now I can't believe I can't remember the name of his band, but there's at that time, The Move were coming through in '68.
Dave Edmunds. Love Sculpture?
Yes. Love Sculpture. That version is killer. We did a version of it and it sucked.
But I bet people were stoked. People like to see people just going for shit, right?
Oh, it was great. No, that was live. It's a showstopper. You can't follow it, basically. It's so cool. You got two guitars. It's all this kind of back and forth and all these stops. And Then you're bordering on prog rock doing that stuff. But that's kind of what we were into too. We were by that point we were into King Crimson and big, and then a little later Mahavishnu Orchestra, and we were really uh, not like a straight out pop group at all. It was like this crazy time changes, and then we realized people can't dance to that stuff. So then
Right.
give up on that.
Somebody told me once, they're like, the point, you want the girls to dance, because if the girls are dancing, the guys are watching. So
That's why ACDC loved us. They said to us, "Yeah, mate, it's great working with you guys because you got girls in the audience." Like they had none. Yeah, I wonder why. Let's see. They're you know, I've got the Jack. That's a nice girl song. Yeah. Oh, I've got VD. I hear something. I'm like, well, of course you don't have girls. What kind of music? We loved ACDC, but we're like, these guys will never get anywhere. It's too great. We thought it was. We thought they were hilarious. Great. They were so great. We did like 100 shows with them. We would tour and we just flip flop. They'd open one night and then they'd close the next night, that kind of thing. So we loved it when we had to open for them, because then we could stand around and get drunk and watch ACDC every night. It's fucking fantastic.
that bill, I mean, people must have been exhausted after that show, like
I guess
drunk,
so, but nobody knew who we
dancing.
were. So I don't know, but people, I guess you'd look at the tickets like, oh yeah, it's $2. So people would just go to anything.
And what size, what rooms were you playing with
Oh,
that?
like
With
gymnasiums or that kind of thing, or clubs like in Boston. We just played one for a charity event. We just were there. We played there years ago with ACDC. We met the Cars there. They came to see. They came to see us. All of them, all five of them. Nobody ever. They didn't have a record out at the time, and yet anyway. So they said, "Oh, we're in this band called the Cars. Oh, hey man, we love your band." And like, oh, okay, whatever. And they said, "Yeah, we've just finished our record." It's like, oh, really? Yeah, produced by Roy Thomas Baker. It's like, what? And they go, "Yeah, here." Then they gave us copies of the record. So Rick and I, we took them back to our room. He and I roomed together at that time. So they gave us whatever, the cassettes or something. And we're going, these guys will never make it. About 3 months later, we were ACDC and us were opening for them.
right, of course.
Yeah, I mean, they were huge suddenly, like Boston or something, or Foreign. And it's like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Oh, they just sold 10 million albums. What?
I don't feel like I would ever be able to put a bet on who would hit like that. I would never. I don't understand what people like and don't like.
Usually, if we liked it, it was not going to be successful. That's 99% of the time. But sometimes, like, wow, this is, gee, Tame Impala has a hit with that song Elephant. I love that song. Like, oh my God, how did that even, who came up with that? It's kind of like snob appeal. Everybody's like, oh, that's so and so. There's no, or if they, the Doors. We hated the Door. We didn't like that Farfisa sound. And the guy, there wasn't a bass player. It's like, oh God.
I don't get the Doors either.
You know that they ripped off Hello, how are you? Got the con in your dame. It's all day and all the night. And
How did I never notice that?
I didn't either. And Ray Davies, there's a thing I think it's Mojo. I love reading Mojo. They were talking about people said to me I should sue them for that, but he goes, I was just glad that they acknowledged it. They said we stole that from the Kinks. He goes, so what? But
yeah, so kids, the message is steal shit from the Kinks. Just make sure to apologize.
Well, just say it, bring it up.
Well, so producer Brian sent me this photo of you guys. It looks like from that ACDC. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it.
Playing pool.
And let's see.
Oh, yeah. With Angus. Oh, there's Malcolm, Rick, and Angus. Yes. That was a TV show we did in Germany. And Bunny, there was no smoking allowed. Mm-hmm. But our drummer would smoke on stage. So he started smoking, and a fire marshal came out and sprayed water on him during the show.
That's a great story. You have so many good stories. Like I'm sure you have a ton more, but it's like, this is just your
sort of
life.
like we were working with Kiss, and we did 3 nights at the Forum in Los Angeles. And I think it was the first night Peter Criss overdosed backstage. So they were flipping out. They did not want to have to cancel the show. So they asked our drummer if he would dress up as a kitty cat and play the show, and he agreed to it. And Peter Criss came out of it somehow, so he did the show. We were so disappointed.
Oh man, it's Bunny, right? Would he have been able to? Would he have been able to play the parts, you think?
Who knows? I mean, anything would have been worth the price of admission for that. We were dying.
It would have been amazing if he hadn't. If he couldn't have stuck it, that would have been even more amazing.
That would have. We'd seen them every friggin' night. I mean, we'd been on tour with them, so we had it down. So he came out of it somehow and did the show. It's like, darn it! I wanted to see Bunny dressed up as a kitty cat.
I know. That's the worst guy. I wouldn't want to be the cat. I'd want to be anybody, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose not.
That would be the least rock and roll one. I don't mean to vibe on Peter Criss, but I was told when I was young, it's like, you don't have to listen to Kiss because you're a woman. So I missed all the apocrypha, the music, all of it. I missed the whole thing. So it's a little lost on me, but because Brian is messaging me furiously about Kiss, and I don't care.
Well, you weren't even born. So, but then people will ask us too, oh, was Kiss a big influence on you? It's like, well, no, we were adults when they came out. That's true. It was all like 10-year-olds, or mainly. We'd get to like the Forum. We'd go to the Forum. It's sold out. There's hardly any cars in the parking lot because everybody got dropped off by their parents. It sounds like a joke. It's not a joke.
Is there any parting wisdom that you have?
Just don't get high when you're playing on stage, because you can never catch that feeling that you have when you first do that, and you're always chasing it. Oh, I took a shot at tequila and I went as it was good. Then the next night, like, well, wait a minute, I think I probably need 2 shots, and then it just goes from there because you don't know what you're doing live, and it's embarrassing. It's just not good.
So give yourself a reward for your presence by allowing yourself to get fucked up later.
It's the only way to look at it. You shouldn't get fucked up then either. Yeah, just don't start drinking. Well, okay, yeah, that's easy to say. If we weren't drunk, would we have been in the same hotel room for 6 nights a week?
Oh, dude, you're the best. You're the salt of the earth, and I love that you're still out there making music for people, and then talking to shitbags like me. You want to talk about the bass and come play my bass. Thank you, and thank you for taking the time to do this.
That's all right. I love it. Well, Kat, thank you for having me.
I can't wait for you to see the episode.
I am so excited. I'm so chagrined and embarrassed that I was not there in the flesh.
2 out of 7 ain't bad or whatever.
That's
so
right.
Anyway.
It's that Lost Meatloaf song.
What does that mean?